Hello everyone, how you all doing? Welcome back to another video, and today we have the finale of building Takodana in LEGO. And yes, if you're wondering why has it been so long since the last Takodana update, in truth I don't really have a proper answer. I kind of got out of the zone, but a few weeks ago I really got back into it, and I had an idea to basically change up Takodana. I wasn't really liking how it was going. That's probably one of the reasons why I got out of the zone in the first place. But as you can see in front of you, a lot has changed, and without further ado, let's jump into it and show you what I've done. Okay, so following the Christmas holidays, I had this idea to basically wreck Takodana and restart. And why I decided to do that was because I felt there was way too much wasted space on this table. Now, this white table that you can see in front of me used to be 6 base plates by 6 base plates. That was the size of Takodana before, and now as you can see, it is quite a bit smaller, but because of that, I was able to put much more detail into this space in front of me. And I've played a lot around with trying to get some sort of free-form technique, and I really like how it's turned out. So let me just give you on a quick run through of the mock in general. So over here is the bay for the Millennium Falcon, and also just a thing to mention, I haven't really changed the layout of how everything was arranged. I really just removed a bunch of excess stuff around the sides and limit it to just this. So anyway, here is the bay for the Millennium Falcon, and it fits exactly around the right shape of it. There's just some foliage and greenery around here. As you can see, I've been experimenting with different types of tree techniques. We have these slightly larger trees that just give it the impression that it is a forest, as well as these smaller trees just darted around here just to kind of enforce that idea that it is kind of a foresty jungle. It's not really just flatlands. Over here, I built some sort of a broken down structure, not exactly what I was thinking it was supposed to be, but I thought it'd be really cool to have some sort of broken structure that some stormtroopers could be hiding behind. Just really adds to the action. Now, giving you a closer look over here, you can see the free form and stuff I've been doing around the outside. I've been doing some snot technique as well as some rock work, just interspersed everywhere, and I really like how it's turning out. Also adding a lot of foliage everywhere. But as we move along here, the paths, as you can see, they used to be all dark tan. Now they are brown based, and then they have the dark tan outline. And I think that gives a much better impression because that's dark tan. And if all of this pathway was dark tan, I think that would just be way too much dark tan. So I think the brown looks so much better. Now moving into this area right here, which is quite a big focus outside of the castle area. This is what I'm dubbing the depot area. And this is essentially where all of the machinery and generators and supply yard type thing of Takodana is. As you can see, I've tried to make some sort of a simulated broken down path coming from here, and you can kind of see it goes over there and over here, as well as come over here. This little bit over here is a snot technique that I used, and I don't really know what it's supposed to be, but I just thought it'd be cool to include it there. Here we have some sort of a tented awning place where we have some supplies underneath it in crates. Then we have some sort of generator thing going on here, and I really like how these pipes look around as if it's kind of powering this cannon right here. And just a closer look at some of the detail. I have these really cool lights over here that I designed. I'll take one off for you guys to see. There we go. And it's very simple, but I think it's very effective as well. And it really captures that Star Wars type of theme. Now moving on to the castle itself, this was the main thing. I didn't change too much here. It's basically the same shape. The only thing I did change, of course, is going to be this building, and I did modify this a bit in a way. So I've added the flags finally now, as well as I have changed up the walling on the inside. You can see it's got a little bit more detail going around here, and I modified the walls a little bit to make them slightly smaller. Coming around here, there's not too much detail going on here, just some sort of pathway right here. It looks okay. I'm not sure how I think about it. Here is the broken down area, and I will go into more depth about what I want that to look like. But then moving back to this building, which I did spend quite a lot of time building. I think it looks really, really cool. And I've thrown in lots of cool colors and design, and I really like it. Then over here onto the last section is the beach area, and I've just got this little platform sticking out here. and that's supposed to be some sort of satellite control tower type thing. So with that out of the way, we can start focusing on what we're going to actually get done this week. Now there is a few things that we need to touch up on, and I'll talk about those right now. So first thing is the bay. I left out quite a few things here. There's not much detail around here, so that will obviously need to be filled in. But as you can see here, there is sort of a elevation right here. That's because LEGO does not sell any half base plates in tan. So this was actually green under here, so I had to plate it up to cover up the green, of course. But what that meant is now this side is higher than this side. So when I get my Millennium Falcon over here for a second, and I put it right here, now it might not be that noticeable, but when you do get down, it is quite noticeable. I'll show you right now. You can kind of see that it's tilting over to one side, and that's something I do want to fix for this weekly episode. Now moving over here, this is going to be a big focus, is trying to fix up this whole beachfront. Now it is quite choppy at the moment. You can see a lot of sharp edges. I want to really finish that off and give it a lot more layering. I'm going to have to try and find some sort of a way that the minifigures actually get up onto this platform, because I think it really is a good idea. And obviously I took this idea from Battlefront 2. If you were wondering where I got that, I based it off some images that I found online, but we need to get some way to get up there. So yeah, we've got to finish up kind of that whole choppy outline, merging from the grass to the sand, and of course finishing off the beach. Along the back side, same sort of story, just finishing up the beach, and you can see that choppy edge right there between the grass and the sand. In terms of the building, that's going to be a big focus. You can see that it is mostly done, except for that back portion right there and right here in the middle. So in the actual Maz Kanata's castle, there is a statue right here in the middle behind this gray thing, and that's where Maz Kanata, there's a huge statue of her, so I'm going to try and replicate that, and we'll see how that turns out, of course. Moving down into this corner, there is a little bit of work to do right here. It is quite unfinished. I'm either going to have to rock it up here, build some rock work, I mean, or I'm going to put some grass, but of course I just gotta finish that up. That won't take too long. Do something about this little area here. This was a little bit of rock work I tried to throw in, but I wanted to use some different colors, some dark tan, but I'm not really sure how that turned out. Then this whole area back here, not necessarily I need to put more detail, but I just need to find a good use for it, because at the moment it is really just an empty area. Now, talking about one of the most important areas for this castle, because I do want to give it the impression that there is a battle. So obviously there's going to be something that has been destroyed, which is why I've left this half open. So I don't have a TIE fighter at the moment, and I'm not really planning on trying to make my own because I frankly don't have the pieces. But besides the Millennium Falcon, I do have two other ships. I have Poe's X-Wing Starfighter and an A-Wing Starfighter. Now, of course, this is from the new Rise of Skywalker movies, but I don't think anyone will notice that. Now, the X-Wing will be flying over the water right here. Now, of course, it doesn't look like water, it's just white, but I'm going to have some sort of trail of blue studs running behind it so that you understand that it is water. But what I'm thinking is, in this area right here, I'm going to have it as if the A-Wing has crashed into that whole thing. So actually, let me show it to you guys, because I think that will be a much better showcase of what it will actually look like. So I'm thinking this will kind of go in here like this, and I'll build around it, and then I'll put fire and whatever, and it will really look like the A-Wing has crashed into the building. So without further ado, I think the first thing to start on is to finish up this area and that area of the beach over there. So let's dive into some time lapses. So it's been about 10 to 15 minutes of building, and this is what I've come up with, and I think it really has turned out quite nicely. And here's just a closer look. I just put a minimal amount of ground covering, just enough to get the idea across, because I really don't think this is going to be a main center of focus, so I don't need to go overboard with the amount of detail that I put in. But here's just a closer look of the detail. And the next thing I'm going to do is work over here on the Millennium Falcon area, getting that bay area so that the Millennium Falcon will be able to lay level, as well as putting potentially a little bit of detail around the edges as well. That area is now finally finished, meaning that we can move on to this area over here, which will take quite a bit of effort, so I'm not going to do a time lapse for this part, but I'm going to be filling in all this area. I'm not sure if I want to do rock work or grass work like I mentioned before. I'm also going to play a little bit around with the details in here and making it feel a little bit more finished, and I'll get back to you guys once I've done that and we're ready to move on to the last part, which is a castle. Alright guys, another update for you all. I have finished off this back portion behind the depot area, and I'm very happy with the results. Now, I pretty much try to recreate this off a scene from The Force Awakens where Rey is running away from Kylo Ren, and it has this very rocky, windy path that she runs through, and I tried to recreate it here, and I think it turned out quite nice. I also have made a little bit of a gradient in the land. It starts off a little bit high and then slopes down a little bit here. Then we merge into a little bit of a muddy slash dirty patch of grass, and then I have a few pieces over here just to break up the boring dark tan. I was also able to get some work done on the crashed Starfighter area right here in the corner of the castle. This is about 10 to 15 minutes worth of work, and I really like how it turned out. Now, of course, it isn't finished in its current state. I've still got to add lots of flame details and kind of charred bricks and a little bit more rubble around the place, but for the most part, this is the general idea of what I'm trying to get across. You can see that the Starfighter is half submerged into this building, try to make it feel very dynamic. There's bricks hanging everywhere, and I really like how it looks. This means that the next step is to now work on the castle, which is going to be right there. Now, that's going to take quite a bit of time and experimentation, so we'll see what I come up with. Alright guys, so I've been working on this statue area for a little bit right now, and this is what I've come up with. I have finished detailing off the sort of center section with the door area and put up some flags, as well as started the base and a basic outline of what my statue is going to look like. Now, it has taken a little longer than I was expecting, and I think I want to leave it there for right now, and I'll try and work on a more sophisticated design throughout the week. But I think I want to finish off this finale with something a little bit more exciting, and that is going to be to finish up this mock and finally detail it up, add some action, and place in the minifigures. Alright, so before we go ahead and set up all the minifigures, I want to show you what I have in my collection. Now, these are all minifigures that I've collected over the course of this mock building series, or I previously owned. Now, going through them, I have the Resistance organized right here on the left, and then the First Order over here on the right. Up in the front, I have a ton of blasters. We have the long rifle blasters, we have the smaller handheld blasters, as well as some pistols. And then in this little compartment here, we have a ton of stud blasters. Now, I'm not sure if I'm ever going to use those, but hey, it's nice to have. Now, in this compartment right here, we have some specialty Resistance figures. We have Maz Kanata, Greedo, Rey, Chewbacca, whatnot. Over here, we have a few of the Resistance troopers with the long rifle blasters. I try to separate them out so that when I go to adding them into the mock, it's very easy to do so. And then in this back compartment over here, we have all the ones with the standard size blasters. Same thing goes for the First Order troops over here. Up front right here, we have the specialist troopers, as well as specific characters such as Kylo Ren. Over here, we have some jetpack troopers, which I'm going to be very happy to include in my mock. I think they look really, really cool, and I've equipped some of them with the long rifles and some of them with standard blasters. Some long rifle characters over here, and then all the standard stormtroopers back here. So everyone, as you can see in front of you, I have finally finished setting up the entire mock, and I can't tell you how good it looks. Now, I'm not going to show you anything now because I don't want to spoil anything, but I will be letting you guys know with a little teaser trailer coming out later this week. And of course, next weekend, I will be releasing the full-on cinematic. So please stay tuned and watch out for those because it's going to look really, really cool. But with that, guys, thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like, going down to the comment section below and tell me what you think. And with that, guys, goodbye.